For this week's Preppin data, we've got some information about conversion rates from pounds into dollars, and we've got some sales that are coming from everyone's favourite soap company. And what we're wanting to do is, for the portion of sales that have taken place in the US, we're needing to convert those, the sales that we have, the information that we have in pounds, over to dollars. So let's look at the inputs that we've got there. So first of all, we've got this list of dates. Let me just look at it here, sorry. We've got our list of dates, and we've got the conversion rate, basically. And down here for our sales, we've got, instead of a date, we've got the week number and the year number. And we've got the sales value and the percentage of that sales value that is taking place in the US. So we can imagine we're going to need to do some calculations down the line to work out how much of the sales value is taking place in the US, how much is taking place in the UK, but we'll come to that. So usually I'll just sort of think about how am I going to join these two data sources together so they make sense. So we've got date information here at this kind of higher aggregation than a day level because it's at the week level. So we're probably going to want to, rather than converting this into a date, we're probably going to want to take out from this date, kind of make that a higher level of aggregation, if that makes sense. So we're going to take out the week number and the year number from this date, just using some simple calculated fields, this date part calculation, to say, give me what week number is that date from. And similarly, we're doing the year part of it here as well to create these nice 2 extra columns that we can then join up with the sales information. So we've got year and week as our join clauses, and we can see that there's a couple of exclusions happening here. We can see that week 53 isn't coming through for our conversion rates. Possibly the way that our company is describing the week number, maybe they're putting week 53 sales into either like week 1 or week 52, but for this challenge that isn't something we need to worry about. So just interesting that that's happening, but we're going to ignore it. So now that we've brought that through, we've got our information about the week and the sales and all these different possible times during that week that we could convert the money from pounds into dollars. So if we're looking at just this week 5 here, for example, then depending on which day we choose to make that conversion, we'll get a different value for our pound to dollar. But the value is always staying the same. So what we're going to want to do basically is we're going to want to extract this conversion rate, this number here, and we're going to want to multiply that by the sales value times by the percentage of it that's US. So that's what we're going to do in this step here. So first of all, we're extracting that conversion rate using a bit of regex, because we know, looking at this column here, that it's always going to be a digit, a dot, and then some more digits. So that's simply what this bit of regex is showing: 1 digit, 1 dot, and more than 1 digit. And we can see that's working nicely because we get this extra field here with our conversion rate. It doesn't come through as a number initially, it comes through as a string because we're doing a regex string calculation. So we just need to tell Tableau Prep, I want you to treat this as a number now. And then we're going to want to work out that percentage of sales that are from the US and times that by the conversion rate. So because our percentage at the moment is as a number rather than as a decimal, we just need to divide that by 100 to make it a percentage and do the right calculation there, but fairly simple maths there. And finally, before we go into the next step, we need to, before we go into the aggregation, we need to have this field duplicated because we're going to want to calculate the minimum and the maximum. And unfortunately, Tableau Prep doesn't allow you to perform multiple actions on one field in an aggregate tool, which is quite irritating, but easily fixed by just duplicating the field. The other thing that I initially forgot to do is that of our sales value, we then want to have what's left over. So all the rest is staying in pounds, but we don't want that to stay as, the whole number. We want the percentage that is supposed to be staying in pounds. So basically we just want to take away all that we've converted into dollars. So we're just saying, if you ignore the rounding bit for a minute, we're just saying multiply the sales value by 100% minus the percent that was from the US. And we're just doing a bit of rounding because it looks nicer. And obviously, generally, currency is with 2 decimal places. So that's the only thing that's going on in that step. So now comes the kind of reason that we've done all the cleaning. We're saying for each week, we want to know what's the best case scenario and what's the worst case scenario for our currency conversion. So we're just taking of that field that we had, I think I called it USD sales value. We want to do the minimum and the maximum of that. And then that gives us the best and the worst case scenario, basically, for each week. So for each week, which day would be best, basically, to make the currency exchange, or worst. And we're just grouping as well by those UK sales. So that was just called sales value, still in our calculated field here. But we're just grouping by it because it was duplicated values, and therefore it's okay to group by it. And we get our 22 rows that we'll need for our output. And then the only other thing to do here is do a little bit of tidying up to make it look like the desired output. So we've made the week be a field that now contains the week number and the year number. So we just did that via a string calculation here. Nice and simple. And we got rid of the extra fields there. We've just done some rounding, so just rounding in the same way that we rounded before. We're just rounding everything to 2 decimal places, and the variance is literally just minusing the worst case from the best case. And that's all that we were asked to do for this challenge. So pretty nice and simple this week, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.